Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and this is a live analysis of the markets. Live trading webinar. This is Bruce. So we'll go through the S&P or stocks and crypto, whatever you guys want to look at. We do have an agenda for today, looking at part 2 of our candlesticks and understanding market structure, but then understanding the order flow within Bookmap, relating those two, making a link between that higher time frame and the order flow on the lower time frame, and being able to use this as an edge or advantage. Just a question out to you right away out there. We've been looking at this higher time frame analysis and was looking for the move lower. So I'm curious now, at this point here, what do you guys think? Are you bearish or are you bullish here today in the stock indexes? We've come down pretty far, but we saw a lot of positioning a week ago, basically, and during last week before the drop on Friday. Okay, so I still think we're continuing here, but I'm just going to pose the question out there and see what you guys have to say. I'll put it in the poll here. That kind of worked well yesterday. We'll give this another try. So hold on a minute. Okay, and this is for today. All right, so let's just see what you guys have to say. All right. Okay, so let's move forward here. This is the Bookmap education. We got to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so let's jump right in and let's take a look here. Previous balance area, wide chop expected, AD Joshua. Okay, so you're basically neutral. All right. Yeah, I mean, this is what we've been seeing, and this is classic. I mean, look, all this stuff is repetitive, but let's just jump back and before we get into Bookmap here, because it is back and forth right now. I agree with you, but the bigger picture here, if we look at this, look at the daily here on the candlesticks over here, the hourly in the center, and then the 15-minute here on the right hand side. Okay, so what we're looking at and what we want to understand here is who's in control. And we noted above here for a few days just a massive amount of absorption, and then it kept going higher. There's some pullbacks here, but it kept going higher. Friday we had the big break, but look at this. Look at the big breaks here. It doesn't allow much activity for you getting in. Look at the hourly over here. It's a huge gap. Okay, this is typical, right? So here's Friday. Here's Monday. Okay, so if you weren't in it, you miss it, and this is where options plays, or maybe you can, if you trade minis, go down to micros, just some way so you can gain some of these higher time frame moves, but limit the risk somewhat. All right, because this is just nasty stuff in the sense that you miss it. You don't get involved, and this was overnight session. So here's the cash session, and look how choppy it is, and look where it is. Okay, it's just filling the gap down in here from back on looks like in August there. So mid-August there. Now we're going to be in a choppy session here. You know, that's what the market is giving us right now. It is our job to read the order flow and to look for yeah, trading opportunities, but it's more about reading the order flow and being able to apply order flow to help and give you an edge in your trading. All right, so what we're going to do is look at candles today, part 2. Yesterday we covered them in detail. In You know, we looked at a bunch of different things. In fact, let me show you the and I'll put this into the chat here as well. This is the webinar from yesterday. Okay, and I'll put it into the chat here for you guys. Yeah, hold on. Okay, Discord guys, there you go. And then YouTube guys, hold on a second here. Just for review, if you guys have questions. So good morning, Lewis, Ricky, Bert, JC. Another day in paradise. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be. Well, we'll go through it. We'll jump in detail here in just a couple minutes. Let me put this in here also in the YouTube. Okay, previous webinar, it is here. All right, so there you go. Okay. Yeah, let me I'll show you. So there's a question in here, E-mini Thunderdome. Yeah, no, cloud. We're looking at the this is the cash session in here on the 15-minute hourly here in the middle, and the daily here on the right. Now, what I was going to mention, oh God, now I lost my train of thought here. Okay, well, what we talked about on yesterday's webinar, and you can see it in the timestamps in there, but we talked about, you know, first off, do you use candlesticks on higher time frames, or how do you use them, and then start to understand some chart patterns in here and apply in the order flow the candles. But what I want to cover today in structure, we're talking about structure in here. And we'll come back and we'll revisit that, I think, later in the webinar, because that resonated pretty well with you guys when we were kind of zoomed in and looking at it and really starting to understand it. As you guys can see, we're starting to see some buyers in here right now, and starting to take off. So we're looking for top of the range in here, and we're already through it, coming back up into 4160 up here. Okay, so let's take a look here. All right, and what's, you know, we'll go into these details here. I mean, this is very bullish. This is a very strong move. We didn't see that when we first started the webinar at all. Okay, so something changed, something picked up, and we can see that a lot of bulls coming in after that higher time frame gap fill, and the market's starting to wake up a little bit here. Now, these guys are getting filled again, all the way up, it looks like, here and here and here. So, you know, this is what we noticed on Friday at a much higher degree, and this is what we want to note today as well. Okay, so are they reloading on the offer? Right, this is what we want to determine. This might squeeze higher all day long. Right, look at them, they're on the bid here, they're on the bid here. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to note that right now, but I want to stay on course here, so we have this material for you guys, and then we'll certainly, it'll all be live analysis here. That's what we do in here, and we do it for a reason, so you can apply what you've learned and understand it as it unfolds, so you can really apply it with practical use case scenarios here. Okay, so let's jump back to that candlestick chart. All right, so here's our big move to the downside. Okay, I had no, this was from way back August 1st. We drew this line in. Okay, I think we can move that one. Yeah, we're kind of coming up and testing it right now. So actually, why don't we keep it? And I'm going to add another one in here. Okay, and we should have drawn this in yesterday or a few days ago. Okay, horizontal line at these swing lows, which is 41.20 or 24 or so. I think it was 24 I was looking at yesterday. Yeah, something like this. I kind of like it a little bit lower here. Yeah, so let's do that. So around 16 or so. Okay, and you can see we're bouncing off that. Now, we would have looked at this on the daily as a potential area for a bounce anyway. Okay, it's too bad I didn't draw it up. And it looks like it's hindsight now, but it's really simple. Where did this big move start? Where are the buyers? They start here. They moved up above this range here. We have a little bit of a pause here this day. Well, it came all the way up here, then it paused, it came back down, and then it followed through to the upside the next day. Strong moves here. Okay, and we know in these moves in here, strong liquidity or very high liquidity on the offer getting filled, especially above 42.50, this dotted line up here. All right, so who's in control in this move? This is what we want to determine. It is buyers. There's no question about it. Okay, now we have the transition up here that takes place. Okay, we have a pattern up here. You can even kind of see a shoulder, head and shoulder. Don't worry about the pattern. That doesn't make a difference. It's what's within the order flow here that makes up the pattern. And we saw it. Lots of liquidity on the offer getting filled. Okay, typically, I mean, that's exactly what unfolds. Get to a certain point, price presses higher, and there is no real auction going on. So price drops, retests the buyers down here, or I'm sorry, the where it broke out from here, and then it bounced around for a bit on the hourly in here, several hours, and then Friday was the big move. Again, look when it took place on the overnight. So you really have to be tuned into this kind of dynamic in here on the higher time frames, because if you're not in there, you're going to miss it. You open up or you get ready for your trading day, and you open up your charts, and it's already down, like, what is it, like from 40 here on up to like 42.80. So 40, 50 point drop, something like that. Anyway, that's what we want to cover in here. We're getting there. We're zooming in more. Okay, but we're looking at the higher time frame candles, and we're basically reading the order flow in the candles here, and we're just kind of speculating at best. We know that there are buyers in here just because the strong move, but that's about it. I mean, yeah, we can look at volume in the subchart here. Okay, we're not going to look at any indicators whatsoever in here, because those are going to give you all sorts of false positives. We're just looking at price action and volume. And note here, see how they're just separated here? Okay, so and you don't have any liquidity in here. You have no understanding of what the bid and the offer looks like here at all. Okay, and you have at best is just one big bar of volume and one big bar of price action. That's it. Okay, so that's very, very transparent, very opaque, I'm sorry. But we can still read the pressures in here. The buyers were here, the sellers really picked up here, and then we would look for a bounce at least down at this area, maybe even a bounce off of the 41.60 here. Didn't really get it. It fell through and went down all the way to the 41.20, and now we're starting to find some buyers start to come in. All right, so where are they going to go? Well, yeah, we'd look at, again, like some of these areas in here and clusters of data or transactions back and forth in here, maybe up to 70, maybe up to around here, and then it gets pretty thin, right? I mean, we know that. We don't have to have volume profile to take a look at this. Just look at the price action in here on this daily. 41.83 up here. Okay, there's going to be, look at all the transactions over here and then also in here. Okay, so that's kind of the edge of it here. Maybe a little bit higher this wick up here. You know, maybe it comes up to 4,200, the figure here. Maybe we get a pullback to there, right? I mean, you know, we'll read it in here and we'll look for the pressures in here. You know, we're just kind of, again, speculating in some of these areas in here where price might go back to. Okay, so around the 70 and then around this kind of 83 or so, and then 4,200. Okay, so where are we now? Well, here's our 83 level up here, and then here's that gap, right? That's way up here at 24, 42.24. Okay, we were talking about just 42 right here. Yeah, our 80, 83, 85 level, a little bit above the where it the gap was, or where it opened. Okay, so yeah, that's not out of the question then to look for a retracement back up into these areas in here. Okay, 4,200 actually looks pretty good, to be honest. It's right in the middle of the gap. At least you get a half a gap fill after a huge gap to the downside there. And that would only be like a 50% retracement nonetheless. Okay, so we're just, you know, the terminology here about retracements and gap fills and whatever, none of it really matters. What matters is the order flow. Okay, and what happened in the gap is tremendous order flow move. Okay, there was such an imbalance of supply and demand that it gapped open at the open way down below. Okay, so it's just like looking at a very, very strong candlestick in here. Of course, you're going to see that if you look at the overnight data here in the S&P. Okay, so now we're finally getting there. Who's in control in the last few days? Sellers, no question. Okay, very, very strong gap, and we can see the moves in here. Okay, even in here, if we look at here's the gap from Friday and the move lower, and then very, very choppy in here, but it still moved lower. Okay, and then the next day, well, this was August 22, or yeah, I guess 22 or Sunday evening here, where it opened up and continued on down. Okay, even if you got in here on Sunday evening, this is a pretty easy move here for this continuation. Look where, okay, so now let's look at the 15-minute chart and start to understand what's going on in here. All right, so strong move here. Look at the buyers come in here. Okay, well, this is where we previously found sellers. Okay, now we can look at the volume down in here. You know, we see the volume smile here. There's not a whole lot of volume here, but this is where we found some sellers, and the selling really picked up around here. Now we've already kind of traded above it, but that's where it started to really pick up and move, just because of the speed or the size of these red candles to the downside. Now this is a pretty strong move to the upside. Okay, can they get up into here, 63 to 65 in this kind of wick area here? Well, we're just about there. In fact, it's come up to about 61.5. It's already paused a bit. These are strong candles though. All right, so I'm still looking for it to trade up a bit higher. Okay, maybe 65. Maybe you can come up and get up into our 80 level up here. Okay, this is what we want to read and understand in the order flow now. Okay, just based, that would be scenario 1 on this higher time frame. Now what we want to look at here, and then we're going to apply this to the order flow, is understanding in these candlestick charts who's in control. All right, so let's just put it out there. Very, very simple exercise here. Who's in control on this daily chart? Okay, what do you guys think? So and where would you kind of mark up the control? Yeah, the sellers are in control. JC. Yeah. Okay, Rob. Yeah, sellers are shorts on the hook. Yep, exactly. You know, they're selling at the wrong place after it gapped down, you know, tremendously. I mean, this is just, you know, it doesn't allow us to participate in this kind of move here because of the gaps, especially for stocks traders. I mean, the futures traders, at least you can. It may gap on over the weekend, but it's open 24/7 basically. What it's 23 5.5 or something, right? Okay, so let's see here. No, we're looking at sellers are on this daily in here. In this week in here, they're in control. They've moved it away from this area here. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. Now, I would argue, or like if you guys made a case in here, if we go and take a look at like really high time frame here on the daily or the weekly here. Okay, yeah, we're still in an uptrend, and it's actually got a long way to go to kind of break that. You know, here's what a weekly here. I mean, you know, this is like a pullback here in this huge move, right? And look at some of these areas in here. See how this was COVID right here, okay? And this massive move to the downside. Look at the chop back up at this area, and then buyers took control and took it away. These are the pullbacks we're looking for. We can pull back to these areas, no problem here, and you could still be in an uptrend, okay, on this weekly chart. No question about it. All right, so just, you know, we're not talking about that though. We're talking about the recent days in here. Okay, buyer or sellers in control taking it away. Sellers in control on the hourly also taking it away here. Yeah, you know, I mean, we can even look at this, to be honest. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, we actually have to break below this kind of 16 or maybe it's around 10 level here, and then make a lower low here. So yeah, I guess you could say buyers are in control, but and this was very strong move to the upside, right? So let's keep that in mind. Actually, we're talking about the swings in here, but what I wanted to cover here was the price action for the last several days, because we saw the sellers take this market away from this area up here. That's what I want to cover, right? That's the main point here. So we've got that move, we got the move down, and then now we're looking at again candles in here. Now there's no candles in here because of the gap, right? This is where the sellers though move the market, right? So what we're looking for is the move back down into these wicks, and we would anticipate that there's going to be some covering and there's going to be some buyers in here. Okay, so let's take a look at the price action now. And we know sellers today are in control. We're still making lower lows and lower highs here. Okay, so we're still looking for, it's going to be a struggle in here potentially to get it back up above into these areas here. Okay, now we do have some strong candles in here, but let's see, we got one retest already here on that 15-minute. Let's go to the day look here. We've already got one pullback here to that area here, and then let's look at a 5-minute here at this point. Okay, so it's already pulled back here, and then buyers came charging in again. Okay, so and then here we have another pullback here, and yeah, I would kind of look for the pullback maybe around 50 right here. Okay, and that's about where it is, and then maybe you can go a little bit lower here, and let's see if buyers come back in. Right, so that's kind of a scenario to look at here. Now in this move in here, for the day at least right now, the buyers have the edge. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, so and here it is. All right, so that's what we want to get to finally. We're breaking it down over time in the candlestick chart here. In fact, let's continue on with it in Bookmap and we'll finally get there. Okay, and we're going to take our stops and icebergs off the chart for now. Okay, all right, let's even take the point of control off here for the moment. Okay, all right, so even best bid and offer, let's take that off. Okay, so here we have our candlesticks, and these are the big moves that we saw. Here's our pullback, here's our big move again, here's our pullback. All right, so not a bad area in here, kind of the tops of these wicks. And this is a good, an interesting area in here. Is it going to come back down into this area here where these buyers came in? Okay, or are we going to get kind of a bounce off of maybe the tops of these wicks in here and accept higher? Okay, at this point here, by reading the candles, looks like it wants to go lower. Okay, the candlestick pattern in here, as you guys know, once we start to break some of these areas in here, we're looking to go lower until we find buyers. And on this 5-minute chart, they're down in this area here. All right, so let's just keep that in mind as we look at these candles. Okay, now I also here in Bookmap, I want to show you something in here, and I think you guys might want to play around with this. I haven't showed it before. We've had it since day 1 on the candlesticks. It is showing a VWAP. There's a few different ways to show it in here. The total VWAP on each 5-minute candle, or you can also look at just the bid and the offer in here. So the the red and the move down here, that's the on the offer, and the green and the move up, that would be on the bid. All right, so it's pretty interesting idea here. Our CTO put this on when he put the candles on, so we've had it since day 1 basically. But this is a really kind of interesting idea that I want to explore further in these candles, is showing the VWAP. Okay, so we know within this 5-minute period between here and here, the VWAP is here, okay, at 52 or so. So we can look for maybe a pullback, a retracement to there, and then maybe the continuation on down. All right, now again, we're just reading candles in here, but we don't have all the data. Okay, this is where we can look at volume dots. Okay, now we're getting some context. Okay, so here's our cash open, buyers, then sellers, then buyers above the area, pullback, and then buyers again. Now let's read the dots. Okay, we know this was a strong move in here on the buy side, but not so strong with the volume dots in here. Okay, it's really not. It's like we want to see bigger dots, pulling that market away. It's not so convincing now that we look at it. Okay, and then sellers take it away here. We retest back up here, and sellers take it away again. All right, now not on a lot of selling either. Okay, so this is what we want to start to mark up and look at. Now we talked about these retracements to some of these areas in here. We're talking about who's in control. Okay, now we can mark it up because of the volume in here. This is who is in control in this move right now. Okay, there are more buyers in here than there are sellers right now. This is a low volume pullback. Okay, so that's why we're talking about the tops of these wicks as a potential bounce. Okay, if not, then either the swing low is kind of a zone between kind of maybe 42.5 to 44 or so. All right, now you guys might not be or you might be looking at your volume profile or whatever it is, but the vertical element here in candles, I think this can apply to just about everybody. Okay, so in whatever kind of trading strategy you're looking at, we're just talking about supply and demand in here, and looking at it right now in terms of the aggressor. Okay, we also can see down here, I mean, look at the selling in here, not so much. Look at the buying here. Okay, they're still in control, all right, in these areas in here. Okay, so that's what we're looking at in the volume here, and now we're applying it to the candle. So remember, we just talked about that return to VWAP strategy on the 5-minute candle. It's already done it. Okay, now there's also kind of a VWAP of 3 candles up here. So, and it's kind of a zone as well. It's up here. Okay, can you guys see that? Up here at the top, kind of at the bottom, and then right here in the middle are the VWAPs. All right, so and it's right in the middle of all that price action of the candles anyway. So we'd be looking for it. You know, this is a good zone for a retracement. Okay, so let's see if these buyers can continue to go. Okay, back up into somewhere around 57.5. Okay, so again, we're still just marking up, and we're laboring through this process in here, but we're doing this so that we have our zones, have our levels on our higher time frames, and then we're applying the order flow here to support these concepts or these trade ideas here. Okay, now these are not trade recommendations. This is about learning. That's about education, and looking for, again, look at the volume within this context in here. We see it in the dots. We see it in the bars in here. Now this is kind of muted. This is not as strong. This is about as strong as the selling in here. Okay, so maybe some back and forth right now, but this retracement idea worked out pretty well. Okay, so now. Yeah, in fact, where would we think a retracement might go here? Okay, to the downside. Now that we've kind of come up, and maybe it can go up a little bit further still, okay, around 58 or so. We'll see if the buyers really come in hand over fist up here, and then reach up into some of these highs, and maybe we get a stop run. But just based on the volume that we've seen here on the buy side compared to the sell side, I'd be looking for a retracement. And where do you guys think it might go? What level? Okay, I'm pointing to it. And there it is. Okay, let's see if we get a bounce off of this level now. Okay, because this is kind of the VWAP, right? Okay, so around this 52 area here is the idea. Yeah, I'm so bad. Yeah, spot on, 52. JC, 40 and 42. Maybe. You know, maybe it'll come back down. It's got to get back down to here, and we got to see more sellers. But I was just talking about looking at these two candles and the price action within it, and we're just talking about volume right now, and looking at that context of the volume within the candles. And we also have the VWAP in here, which is nice. It also lines up with the high volume node here. So, you know, that's going to make, you know, obvious sense here that it's going to be a high volume node due to this being these two being VWAPs in here on our chart range. Okay. So now sellers are pushing through it. So JC, maybe you got it here. Maybe it's going to come down into here and we see more sellers, and then bottom of these ranges in here. Okay. Okay. However, just what we were looking for was a move up into here. Okay, this range or this zone, it came to the bottom of the edge here, and then the pullback, and we're just looking for the move here. Okay, to about 52. All right, so 52 was a few different moves. Well, let's just call it 52 up to 57. So you know, that's a 10-point move there. Okay, so buying up for 5 and shorting for 5. Okay, and then now we're starting to see it break a bit further here. Now let's take a look at the selling in here. Okay, we know buyers came in here, and not a whole lot though. Okay, but we don't see a whole lot of action on the sell side either right now. So this looks very range bound right now. Now that can change, but again, we're just looking at candles and volume right now, and then also starting to give some insight to where price might go just based on these two elements in here. Price action. Okay, we can see all of the price action because we can see the best bid and offer activity within the candle, and then we also see the volume within the candle. Now if you're looking at your footprint chart, you're not going to see all that price action. You're not going to see these little moves back and forth like this and then the drop, because your footprint chart is going to just show you your volume very precisely within that 5 minute or that period, and it just doesn't give that kind of transparency. Okay, so anyway, just these two elements, and we're already reading the order flow here, but we've drilled down here, okay, from our higher time frame and understanding who's in control. Okay, this one is kind of we went back and forth on that. I just wanted to cover about who's in control. At least higher time frame wise, buyers are still in control, to be honest. Okay, we looked at the weekly, even this daily here, we have not gone below this swing yet. Okay, we went below this swing up here, right, and we're retesting this one down here. Okay, but buyers still remain in control basically. That's why we're looking at this bounce in here right now. We're not finding sellers down here. Okay, we need to find some sellers down there and then look out. You know, the next level would be around this 40.80, and then all the way back down into some of these other levels here. Okay, probably maybe something around 40.11, but then below 4,000. Okay, probably down to about this 39.37 level, or maybe a little bit lower, 16.17, where the buyers came in here, right? That's why we mark these areas up. Right, same concepts over to the hourly, same concepts over here to the 5 minute chart. Okay, so here we are. Okay, big cluster of activity down here. Buyers came in just about here, pretty strong, right in about here. Okay, so let's see if we get another barrage of buying down in here. And now what we're going to do, yeah, JC, good one, good call. You know, it blew through that area. Now we were just looking for the pullback to here. Okay, but JC, yeah, you got it. It's come down to this kind of 42 level here, and when we relate that to the candles, we saw the strong move, the pullback, and the strong move. Okay, now let's start to look at the sellers in here too. Okay, selling starting to pick up, bars and also dots in here, and then we're just testing into it right now. Now, based on the candlestick chart in here, I would look for covering and a bounce, okay, by buyers, and then maybe back up to about 50 here. Okay, now this is kind of a critical area because this is if we don't get that and we don't see on the bid it being strong, okay, then we're going to get a push through here and likely not only down to the point of control of this range in here, but we're talking about the lows. Okay, again, going through these different scenarios in here about the price action, where it might go. Now we look at the order flow. Okay, now we've only been covering in here the order flow in terms of the aggressor, okay, and the price action. Okay, so yeah, so let's see. This is not a bad concept. Again, a pullback, and look, VWAP on this candle is here at 50, and that's kind of where we were saying, like we were kind of looking for a pullback. All right, now let's look at the structure too. Right, this is where sellers kind of really picked it up in here. You can see the spike in here and also in here. So a pullback to here is not a bad concept, at least to 47, maybe to 50 here. Okay, even though we know sellers are in control here on this very small time frame. Okay, right in just this recent move here, this is where sellers took it down. Okay, so we're looking for our pullback to here. Okay, we know our VWAP is up here though, right? So now we're relating this order flow here again to our candles. Okay, the aggressors in here, just the aggressors right now. We're keeping it simple. We have our reasons now, okay, why we're looking for these to unfold. Then we can get into trade management in here. All right, so we've drilled down. We've gone through the process here on higher time frames, looking at the same process all the way through, but now we're getting so much more transparency in here, and all we've done is turn on the volume dots. Okay, now, yep, just looking for these pullbacks here, and trade management. You know, that's a whole nother subject. We've talked about it many times. Very briefly though, like how you would consider, you know, on a pullback like this, you know, maybe you just want to get in at the bottom of the range and just kind of cross your fingers. You have your ideas though, right? Okay. Another one is you can look at some of these microstructural areas in here, and start to understand. We didn't even turn on best bid and offer. Here we go. Okay, look at these microstructural areas in here, and really start to understand the order flow. This in concept, we've talked about it for years, is the same stuff. Okay, here's our price action. Here's our break above it on buying. Here's our low volume pullback right here. Here's our buyers above it. So you could get in, you know, here or on your pullback, try to take it back to the top of the range, or you know, you're just looking for this to continue on up into your 47 level, right? So let's go there. All right, so now we've already blown through that 47 level. That's the move we were looking for, our primary scenario. Okay, and then our secondary, or our secondary target, our primary target was 47. Our secondary target's up here around this 50 level. Okay, due to VWAP transactions. I'm not, you know, I'm just throwing this idea out there on that VWAP. I kind of like, I would be taking profit in here, to be honest. The swing here, we might get a little bit of a stop run above it in here, but I look at the swings in these areas and clusters of activity, not the VWAP. All right, so that's what I like to look at, but it's up to you, right? And so in fact this has been achieved. Okay, this target here has been achieved. All right, so now out of the position, just looking for that to unfold, just that. Okay, and then now on to the next position. All right, so now we've drilled down, we've talked about our higher time frames. We've outlined our areas on our higher and lower time frames in here, and now we're just looking at the aggressor in here. Okay, the traded volume, the transactions. Thank you, JC. This is very simple, straightforward education. I know it sounds kind of complex, but it's not. It's really not. And we're looking for these, and we have our reasons why we think this might unfold. Okay. Now, the JC, the way to go here is, if you like some of these concepts, go study it. Okay, that's how you build a trading plan. That's how you build an edge. Did it work? Go back again and again and again. Unfortunately, like Jay Trader's tomorrow. He'll be on tomorrow, and Scott will be on Thursday. They have their own trading plans. Ask Jay Trader about like how he came up with his trading plans. He went back and hand tested them. Okay, now he's not doing that anymore. He has, well, I guess he still is, but now he has actually programmers too, looking at other data sets and other things. But he is an expert on his moving average pullback to his J lines, okay, and other strategies that he's looking at. He is a complete expert. He has done this homework, and he has numbers. When you start to have numbers, this is going to give you tremendous confidence. Okay, so you have, let's say, you can even start with it. You could do it today. You could have 17 to 20 different instances in here, and give you a slight edge likely. Okay, in a couple of days, in a week, you would have that edge. Okay, and then now you can start to wrap a trading strategy or trade management strategies around it too. Okay, and then you have to then test it, forward test it, or back test it with or in replay mode. Then in demo and in live markets. Okay, and then start with micros. All right, we're gonna have other webinars soon going over building trade strategies, okay, and building edges. All right, so it's something that I think a lot of traders, like, they hear about it all the time, but they just don't know how to do it. So we'll cover it now. And note now what we've been talking about. We haven't even looked at liquidity yet. Okay, the other side of the trade. We're just talking about the transactions and our ranges. This is why ranges. Okay, let's just take the volume dots off for a moment here. Okay, these ranges in here and market structure is critical to understand. How important it is to understand market structure. Now we're using candlesticks in here because everyone looks at candlesticks. Okay, but we can take these candlesticks off. A lot of times I feel they just get in the way, and just look at pure market structure by best bid and offer. Right, and start to understand the order flow just by understanding market structure. Okay, in here you can see consolidations and speeds of moves. In candles, you really can't. Okay, you might get a big candle, but it might consolidate a lot, go up, consolidate a lot, go up, and then consolidate at the top. There might be 3 or more areas of consolidation on that big green candle. Okay, so this instead is telling you, like, look at this move here. There were pullbacks in here. They're beautiful too. Look at these moves here. Guys, we just don't make this stuff up. Move higher, pullback, breakout, pull back to where it broke out from, back and forth, breakout, pull back to where it broke out from, breakout, pull back to where it came from, a little bit lower here, but this is kind of maybe an anomaly, and then again, breakout, pull back to where it broke out. Just this move here, you could have gotten in and out several times, and then also had layered into this and leveraged this trade. It did it again here, and then here it just broke out and continued. Finally, you get the pullback to this area here. Okay, you'd be done for the day and you would have made a bundle. Okay, if you're really precise in understanding what you're looking at and what you're looking for, okay, in your strategies. And we're just talking about market structure right now. That's it. Okay. All right, guys. So here we go. Now we're going to take this market structure. We're going to put our candles back on here. Okay. And we're going to put our volume back on too. And we're going to put the heat map on finally. And understand what's going on. Okay. All right, you guys are bullish in here. Okay, I like it. I like it. I was kind of curious what the outcome would be here, but most of you are bullish. Okay, so let's we can end this poll unless there's a few of you want to jump in there. But 65% of you guys are bullish in here. Do I use trend lines? Floyd, it's not so much about trend lines as it is about structure. Yeah, I do. I use them all the time to outline structure. Okay, just because we're drawing up these kind of horizontal structures in here, you can very successfully look at the same ideas tilted. Okay, in your trend lines, in your trend channels. I love it. It's the same concepts, it's the same idea, it's just that it's been tilted and shifted. That's it. Okay, here it is playing out right in front of us. Okay, back to the VWAP, back to a trend channel, sellers coming in. Okay, not a bad area in here. Okay, we have a couple of VWAPs in here. We also have structure here, okay, and then here, okay, bottom of this range. So we're coming back down there, okay, and it looks like sellers are starting to pick up in here. Let's turn our volume dots on. Okay, now this is where we're going to turn the heat map on and add the third element on this Bookmap chart and understand what's going on between these periods in here, down at this range here, because we don't know what the liquidity is like in here. So are we looking for continuation? Are we looking for breakdown? What's on the offer? What's on the bid? How long have they been in there? Did they add to it, or did they pull as price is coming down? These are the questions we want to answer. Okay, so we got the heat map on. Let's turn it up and take a look. Beautiful. Look at this. Even though we have high liquidity in here, they're getting filled in here, and we still go a bit higher. There's still more buying. We get the pullback, still more buying pressure, but it trades up into here. Here's where our sellers take it away. Okay, here, and then now these guys are short. Okay, back up on this pullback here. All right, so now let's take a look here. We've just broken down and the selling is picking up, looking for 40. Let's jump back. Let's not, I really want to look at it all immediately. It's moving pretty quickly, but we want to take a look again at the bigger picture here. We're through these areas here. We're looking for the VWAP now down here, or where the buyers came in. Truly down here is where they came in, 32 or so, 31. Right? The first test would be the VWAP here, right? Because we've traded through now where these buyers came in. All right. Now we might get a false breakdown. It's true. We might. We'll read it, but a bounce off of VWAP and then a potential false breakdown here below these swings in here. This swing here and this swing here might not be a bad setup. Okay, so I imagine VWAP's probably around 39 or so, and we're just trading to it right now. Okay, so let's jump back to Bookmap. Okay, and we covered that scenario too. Okay, that if we would anticipate buyers to begin with here. Okay, because of the strong move here, right? Strong move that we're looking for a bounce and then a potential to come back up. Okay, well, here's what we saw now. Once we added liquidity into the picture, we got a whole different perspective here. Okay, they're getting filled. They're getting filled. Sellers now taking it away from that area up here. This concept of them taking it away from this area up here is no different than this concept of them taking it away from this area up here on the daily chart. Okay, so because of that, I'll be looking for them to take it lower, right, and trade through some of these areas in here. Now we've already traded into 40, and let's take a look at it here. Okay, filled and filled. Okay, and still in here, and then they pull. Okay, down to here, 38. On the offer in here, okay, what happened to our point of control? Let's see what happened with that. It's up here at 45. All right, well, that's not a bad idea either as a pullback though. All right, we'd have to see the buyers come in here for that to happen, obviously. All right, so let's take a look at maybe even our volume profile in here, or just we can zoom out and look at this previous area in here. We don't have to look at volume profile. We just look at maybe some of these areas. This is pretty nice. This is kind of where it broke out from. It came back, retested. They pushed it through here. So yeah, this is not a bad level, and we've already come down to it and tested it here. Okay, so that's around what, 41.36. Okay, so now are we going to see buyers bounce off of that area here and take this higher? And if we do, well, let's take a look here. Okay, we're looking for our buyers above here. Okay, now the offer is pretty ominous here. Okay, but this could be a really nice idea as again another pullback trade. Okay, and let's take a look at the market structure to here. Okay, these wicks in here. Let's dim our heat map a little bit. These wicks in here, these swings here, and where the sellers dropped it through there. And we also have VWAP. Now we will keep an eye out for this, because during this session you get these mean reversion traders that come in once price has gone far enough, they'll come back for this relentlessly to 45. All right, unless it builds out and pops in down here now. Okay, all right, so look, a bit of buyers above it. Nope, breakdown down to the bottom of the range here. Okay, looking for sellers to push it through down into 35. Okay, strong move, strong selling. Okay, that's what's making up this move, is strong selling. Okay, this was a bit of a pause or a pullback, and again looking for our strong selling. Okay, so then down to the bottom of the range here. Okay, be looking for that. Horizontal line right here. Okay, look at, we've already had a pullback to VWAP here. Okay, of that candle. You know, I don't know how many people are looking at that, but it's not bad, because look at, for this, between this period here, and this is why we don't want to hang our hat or rely too heavily on indicators. But what is it showing us? What is it telling us? It is telling us this. This here is basically the high volume node in the last 5 minutes. It's right there. Okay, you can look at, you can verify it here in the CVP, the chart range volume profile. It's pulled back and it's accepted lower. Looking for sellers, looking for them to hit the bid into lower levels, and our line that we drew down here at 31 3/4. Okay, stop run, lots of icebergs in here too. About 300 icebergs. All right, guys, I'm sorry. Let me get back to the questions. This move is playing out very nicely. Okay, back down to the bottom of the range here, and I'm looking at the kind of you know, for the session, it's actually went lower here. Okay, so we can look at 20 or 25 in here as well, but the cash session is what we're looking at here, right? The cash low is here. All right, so that's what we're testing right now. So lots of questions in here, and we'll go through them here. guys, but I just want to see if there's any questions on understanding this process. Okay, reading this bar data here from our higher time frame and who's in control. Okay, back down to where we would anticipate a bit of a bounce here due to these buyers coming in. Okay, and then going to the hourly chart here. We talked about many different things in here and about gaps and how we can't participate in that. Actually, you can if you get up in the middle of the night or you're trading London session. Or London or Asian sessions in here because this is a futures product. And then looking at that and then drilling into the 5-minute chart. Okay, now when we started off this webinar, these were pretty strong candles for the daily. For the day, right? So we were looking for a move back up into these wicks up in here previously. Okay, makes sense. Okay, we also know though, because of this drop in here, and you can see where that drop took place is here. It's just kind of spiked above it and then it found its sellers. Okay, and we weren't too convinced on that selling. In fact, we were looking for a bounce here, and then we came back and tested here again. Now we're looking for the drop through it, point of control or high volume node of this area. And then we talked about down here 31.75 or so, and now we've spiked below that too. Okay, and then we looked at Bookmap and we looked at the volume within these areas, and then we looked at the heat map as well. The heat map gave us a lot of information right in here. Okay, right in here on that pullback. Okay, now that's the beauty here. If you don't have that, you're not getting the full picture. You don't know they got filled in here. You don't know they got filled in here. Okay, and then once these sellers come in and upend that, okay, and basically this is like a gap. This price action is like a gap, and it's a stop run too. Okay, right here. Okay, so they just sellers come in, drop it. Hit some stops along the way and continue on. All right. Let's take a further look here. And let's turn our heat map on. Okay. On the offer, pretty strong. They got filled here again. This is a pullback. Now look at the volume in here. Right, this is a pullback, okay, and a retracement so far, but we're looking again at who's in control in these moves. Okay, like we knew sellers are in control here, no question. Sellers in here. Sorry guys. I'll clear the lines here in a minute, but because it's getting quite messy making these points. But sellers pick it up here and move it. Now buying's not so bad in here. Look at the bars and the relationship. Look at the dots and their relationship. Okay, it's not so bad. So this is kind of strong. This is kind of maybe, and we're at lows of the cash session. So that concept of that mean reversion trade is still in play here. Okay, we just want to watch the order flow. It's just another scenario we are open to here, and the order flow is going to give us some insight to it. Okay, and we're going to look for it. We look for buying starting to mount up here. It already is, but up here it's looking pretty weak. It's looking pretty weak up here. Where's the selling? It's looking pretty weak in here too. And this offer, at least it appears strong. And look where they came in, where the sellers took control. We're not making that stuff up. Here's where it dropped. Here's where they're sellers. They're ready to reload. Now, here's our dynamic. They're full of it. They're pulling, right? They don't want to be sellers now. In fact, the buyers are coming in. They flipped. They traded in here. Some sellers traded in here, but look at the order book flip from offer to bid, and we're finding buyers. Great. Let's hit 35, and let's get back up into, well, 35 is where it dropped from. Okay, let's see if we can, if they're going to go for some swings now, though. Okay, so maybe back up to these swings up here, which would be around 38 or so. Okay, this appeared to be strong, and now we see a whole different dynamic, right? Okay, well, let's see now. Let's see if the bid again flips, or these guys from offer to bid, and we get more buyers in here, and we can look for that trade. Now, what does that look like on the higher time frame here? This would be your false breakdown. Right? We don't know yet if it is or isn't. Now, if it is, what we say, 45? 45 is way up here, top of this range up in here. That would be your mean reversion trade for the day. Way up there. So that's pretty good point gain there. Okay. Now, based on the structure in the swings in here, I would probably be looking for about 41 or 41 and a half or so, somewhere around here. 42, 41 and a half, something like that. I also know there's going to, this 40 level is going to be pretty big. Get through kind of the midpoint, or high volume node of all that action in there. And that would be, it's actually a little bit lower. It's in here. So that's our 38 level. All right, so that looks pretty good. I really like 38 then. Okay, now I don't see much liquidity around there. Okay, buyers. Now this is what we're looking for, is heavy buying in here. It just has to be. It has to be. Okay, and it's coming in. There's 35. Okay, let's see if we can get some more or not. Now again, we don't know yet, right? We're still looking here because of this here. Is this a false breakdown or is this continuation? Okay, we still don't quite know yet. It's kind of come back into the range here a bit, but this is pretty thin in here. Okay, it's the meat of it's up in here, in this area up here. Okay, so we're still kind of like on the fence here. Really not too sure. We've gone through the different scenarios though. And we just don't see anything right now. Let's see, Doug, traders are buying puts. Okay, so this was back at 10:35, sorry, or 10:55, so not that bad. Thanks, Doug. Traders are buying puts and selling calls aggressively in the queues. Okay. Okay, here we go again. Buyers coming back in. Okay, this is where you got to get it back above this kind of 35 area on some pretty heavy volume. It's mounting though. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Yep, there it is. That's our heavy volume here. Okay, let's see them move it up to 38. Okay, that would be the first target here. Now, kind of missed that one. To be honest, I wasn't convinced in here. We knew our level, Hindsight's a real easy one on this one. Our level's simply here at 35. It's been bouncing off that, and then finally they push through here. They are supporting it here on the bid. Okay, and they're staying in here. So that's good. Okay, that would be your pullback if you're bullish. Now, I don't know what I feel about it. Okay, now it's looking better, not just because it went higher, but they pulled here, they added more here, and we're getting buyers. Okay, now we're at our 38 level. All right, let's see if we can get back up into 40. Okay, this swing up here. And we know this is a critical area. Here, we see this liquidity that got filled here. And 40 relates to kind of the middle of this range in here. Oh, I'm sorry, that's 38. 40's a little bit above it. Okay, these guys are still on the bid here. They want to be buyers. Okay, less on the offer. It's flipped. Now, still doesn't mean these sellers can't trade into and through these guys here. Yeah, I'm not too convinced on this one. I do see the buying in here, and I would go with the buy. I mean, the overall move is still going with the buyers on this. But this is not. It's not bad in terms of probability. It's just not great. It's not too convincing. Okay, but yeah, I would still go with the buyers here, and then the move up into our 40, and yeah, potentially that 44, but it's 45 really is where the POC is. Guys, if you're on YouTube and you want to join us on the discussion in Discord, jump over to our Discord channel. You can find the link on the, just go to bookmap.com, and it's on the top. You'll see there it says join our Discord. Okay, Doug has some, Doug's going to be presenting on Friday. This upcoming Friday. He came up with a new option strategy, so he's going to be going over that. So looking forward to that. Thanks, Doug. Looking very forward to that. Doug's been trading. He's done some pro trader webinars for us. And he's just heavily into the options here. Doug, you're turning into a scientist here with some of these options. I'm sorry, guys. Let me get to the nice chat in here on the YouTube channel. Still going higher here. Still buyers, still going higher. So 40, I kind of like that 41 level here. I'll get to the questions in a second, but it's up in here. I'm kind of looking at basically 42. 41.5, 42. All right, let me get back to these guys. So can we connect to Microsoft Excel? No. Wall Street Warlord. You can export the time and sales into Excel from Bookmap. Yeah, there's our move into 40, guys. Okay, still looking for higher. The order flow is pretty good. Okay, and then basically it's at that 42 level. And that's where I would take some off personally. That's my trading style though. Okay, so this is kind of the area right in here. All right, we talked about it several times. Okay, funny enough, the POC is up here at the top of the range. Okay, so at 45 up here. All right, and that's, I mean, it's climbing. It looks like it wants to go right into it. Anyway, guys, this has been a pretty good example of a false breakdown. And then in here, I don't know, I just wasn't too convinced by it. I'm much more convinced by it now when you start to see that volume pick up. But down in here, I just wasn't too convinced. Even this move in here, this is where the sellers came in. This could be actually a little false breakout of this zone and then a move back in and down lower. But the book flipped and the order flow. That's why, this is, again, Scott talked about this. I mean, the order flow told us, but it just wasn't as convincing, right? The order flow told us, like, yeah, we're going with the move higher here. It's just that, yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't convinced by it for the reasons I said. We hadn't kind of quite cleared that area. The volume's not bad. It's not bad at all, and they did flip and support it on the bid. So, actually, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. But I don't know. For whatever reason, I had my I had some doubts about it, and then Scott talked about this. Scott talked about, like, look, you may not feel good about it, but this is your plan. Then you've got to trade your plan. Anyway, I just want to make that point, get that point across about that's where it's not about waffling back and forth on is it good or is it bad or whatever. It's like, what is it telling you, and just have to separate your emotions from what it is telling you. That's the main point here. Okay, so let's get back into this. So you take the emotions out of it. Usama, yeah, we might see that sub 4,000. It's not far away. I mean, it's 140 points away. But yeah, well, we'll look at CPI data a bit later in the week. I'm sorry, GDP data, right? Uriel, what's the best time frame for scalping? Well, there really is no time frame. It's really about the order flow and what the market gives you. Yeah, like, you could look at a very, very small time frame in here. You could look at a very higher time frame, much higher time frame. Okay, well, you could be looking at 5-minute, you could be looking at 60-minute, or even the daily here. Okay, so it's what the market is offering, basically. You can zoom in here. We've gone through this exercise a million times. Looking at these little same concepts and ideas, microstructural areas though, and then looking for the order flow within it. So here's on the offer, sellers, great. Let's see them hit down to below this here, and maybe they get down to here, 38.5. This liquidity here at 38. Okay, they only came back down to here, and now we're up here getting buyers. Okay, so let's see now, do we get enough buyers here? Does the bid show something here? We're getting buyers here. Okay, well, 42, right? There's 42. Okay, so you could scalp this all day long. Okay, up to 42, kind of top of the range in here. Do we still see buyers? What about the bid? Okay, the bid's starting to show a little bit of support in here. It's kind of bluish. It's not that great though. No buyers here. All right, so now do we get sellers here? If so, bottom of the range again, back down to 38. Okay, see the exhaustion in here? Okay, is that clear? Right in here? And then we've got these buyers or sellers coming in here. We're looking for the move lower. Okay, now they just moved it down to where the buyers came in. Do we get sellers down here? No. Okay, you can play this all day long. Be a lot. I mean, you'd be really tired, exhausted. Again, did we get buyers up here? No, not really. Okay, all right, so what we need to see now is sellers here at 40, and we're not getting them. Now do we get buyers? Now do we get buyers back up here? No. Okay, it's just kind of range bound. There's some exhaustion. Nothing traded there. Okay, do we get our sellers back down here again is the question. Offers coming in a little bit. Are they pulling on the bid? It's a very tight range. It's like 3 ticks. Okay, some buyers starting to auction up here. It's just not quick enough. You know, starting to auction up here, you'd be looking for the push. Okay, now the continuation. There we go. Okay, and now continuation back to 44 and then 45. This would be our mean reversion trade as well. Okay, just on a much lower time frame. Now see how this guy just spoiled all of that, and we don't know when that's going to happen. Okay, now look at it. There's still buying pressure in here though. Look at that. Okay, can we auction here again? If so, we should be able to take these guys on at 43. Okay, from 42.5 to 43, and then on up. And we didn't get anything. Now, you know, this is happening very, very quickly. Okay, now we're getting our sellers in. Okay, now do we get our remember our sellers down here? Do we get them down here? Yeah. Okay, and on the offer, let's see if we can get maybe a push here on the sell side. And nothing. We could just do this all day long. All right, let's see it, sellers. Let's see if we can do it. And it doesn't look good. They're not really showing up, and the bid is still supportive here. I want to see it darken here on the bid. Yeah, now it's looking better. Okay, sellers should be able to push it now. Okay, and we're not talking far. Maybe back down into some of these areas here, but the liquidity is down here at 38. Okay, we got buyers come in one more time. Meager selling here, but it did auction. Okay, better. All right, now they've got it now. Okay, let's see them try to move it now back down to bottom of this range here, 38, 38.5, 38, and 37. Okay, see the distinction in there? See where the sellers came in? We auctioned a little bit here, and that was it. And then they started to pick up here. Now look at the reaction to that. More selling. Now this is kind of in this case, this was not someone who disrupted the party. This actually was wind at our backs that helped us get this down into 38.5, 38.25. Okay. So anyway, Uriel, there's your answer. This is the same process though we are doing on these higher time frames, as well as you know, even some of these candlestick charts in here. This is why I would be taking some of my profit in here. I said around 42 or 41.5. All right, due to the structure here of the higher time frame. Good morning, Phil. No, these aren't a part of Bookmap. This is actually Rhythmic R Trader. Rhythmic offers it for free. I've just been using it because in Bookmap we don't have a higher time frame outlook, like several days here or months of data. We could look at a weekly in here as well, right? So I'm just getting the concept, or I'm getting kind of some insights of ranges in here, just ranges, because the volume's ridiculous. It's in the sub chart here. There's no liquidity in here. But we're getting market structure, and it's even that is kind of hidden somewhat due to the aggregated data within the candles. However, this is what we're working with, and this is what most people are looking at, is some sort of candlestick chart, right? We asked that yesterday, and that was the outcome. Guys, if you like this video, give us a like here. This has been, part 2 of our candle and market structure in the education. So to really follow through on that from yesterday. So we got parts 1 and 2. I think that's a nice addition in here for the education. All right. Okay, Floyd looking at some lower levels there. Yeah, I like that 41.23-ish or 24-ish level as well. That's exactly what I was looking at earlier in the week or Friday. Wall Street Warlord, go to bookmap.com/ I think marketplace, or just maybe it's, I'm sorry, maybe it's marketplace. Here, let me show you. Go to bookmap.com. Okay, and then go to more, and then marketplace here on the right hand side, and it's marketplace.bookmap.com. These are all the add-ons in here. Sounds like you're a coder. You could code in here. They're in Java and JavaScript, and you can sell them here if you like as well. It's a marketplace. Okay. Yeah, there's more information if you go to, well, scroll down to the bottom. You'll see about becoming a vendor in there if you're interested. Another place to go, and let me show you this, is here, bookmap.com, more button, and then go to knowledge base here, and then Java API here. Now, I don't know the details on it yet, and JavaScript here as well. I don't know the details on it, but we do now offer a bridge with Python. So you can code in Python as well. For those of you wanting to join our Discord, just go to bookmap.com. You can see it right here, join our Discords at the top. Okay. All right. And let me continue on with the questions here. Good questions. Yesterday especially. Okay, the more you watch, the more it's making sense. Keep it simple. We want to be able to gain something from it. If it's too complex, we're just not going to get it. Okay, it's hard enough as it is, but just want to keep it really simple. Okay, and we've been talking about very, very simple concepts in here about market structure and acceptance, rejection, and then looking at the volume and the order book within those areas. That's it. That's it. Yeah, I mean, like Captain Price is looking at volume profile, mean reversion, these kinds of ideas. Sure, that's more complex. I mean, it's the visualization is great. I love it. But it can be very expensive software. So you don't need to have it. You can understand the same concepts by what's happening. Well, you're going to get volume profile within Bookmap and your 2 columns here. And then you can also look at some of these candles in here, even on your higher time frame. And I was a little surprised. We were totally wrong here. The POC was volume, the point of control, or the most traded levels up here around 45. Okay, at the top of the range. It doesn't look like it, but it must have been due to the open in here and a lot of trading right in here. But it looks like it should be down here. Okay, but typically it's not too difficult to ascertain. Okay, and then low volume nodes, you know that too. I mean, like there's going to be a low volume node likely up here, back and forth, quick move away, retest, quick move away. So that should be up at 56.5. Let's verify it. 56.5 is at a low volume node. Okay, it should be right here. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, Abdi, you're looking at other older POCs. Okay. Nick, why I wanted to take profit in here was due to the market structure. Okay, I wasn't looking at POC. I was looking at these swings in here. Let me get rid of. I'm going to take some of these things off in here. All right, so we're gonna finally get rid of our drawings in here. That should help. And then let's just lower down this here. Now it should be pretty clear. Okay, this 42 in here, somewhere in here. I like 41.5 to 42. That's why I would take my profit there. Okay. And hey, it might still do it here. We would have to come in here and take a look. Like, look, they stayed in the book here at 35. Look again. Look at the market structure again. Okay, here. Okay, and then it broke out here. They're buying here on the bid at 35. Right, so coming back up into here is still not out of the question whatsoever. It's still in play. Okay, now if the sellers break through it, look out. We're coming back down into here. Okay, we also covered the something I'm going to look at it more. I really like it. These VWAPs on the candle, and it's something that I hadn't seen from someone else. Our CTO came up with that idea just out of the blue, and put it for the bid, the ask, and overall VWAP. Uriel, how you get a CVP column? Just right click, go to volume, and then chart range. Right click again, and then choose chart range accumulated. Very simple. Okay, guys, did you like this video or this webinar? Do you want to see more of these? More education like this? I'm going to do another little poll in here. I like these polls. Okay. All right. Now, would you guys, I mean, we're here in these webinars for the live analysis. That's what we're here for. All right. Because we have education courses already online. Maybe we'll add this to the education. And then we come to these webinars are about going over that course content in the live market. So look at this mean reversion trade, this bounce off of 35 here. Not bad, right? Looks like it's going to do it to me, and hit this 45 level here. These guys are just relentless. They come in and they just don't give up for these mean reversions. And then once this is done, it's like, you know, they're out. Hey, Ricardo. Okay, thanks, guys. All right, excellent. I really appreciate it, Porter. Thank you. Yeah, look at the bid here. You know, once you see this action in here, it's like this is what it wants to do. You know, now you could, like, you gotta work on your trade management. That's where the rubber's really going to meet the road. Is to understand your trade management within these structures. Okay, what we've just covered, because you've got to protect yourself. You've got to take your profits, take what the market gives you, and take your small losses when it does not do what you think it's going to do. And that confidence comes from your studying of these areas. Once you have that confidence, it's pretty easy. Or it makes it easier, put it that way. It still hurts, it still stings, but it makes it easier. JTrader is a complete expert at it. Listen to him. Okay, Scott, is he a complete expert at it? Listen to him. Okay, JTrader looks for it to work immediately. If it doesn't, he cuts it, he's out, he looks for the next one, he doesn't let it get to him. Scott has a longer term, higher time frame stop based on ATR and levels, and that's the way that he trades. He said, how many times has he said it? I love it. Like he gets in there and he says, like, this is where your stop goes. You don't move it. You know, it either works or it doesn't. Don't trail it. You know, if you have a new setup within that setup, then you can edit your management. Yeah, so anyway, different, and those are completely different ways of trading. Okay, and you know, those resonate with that's their way of trading, and it resonates with them. All right. Okay, I think I've gone through most of the questions here. Wow, 100% on this here. On yes, huh? Okay. Okay, 27 votes. Okay, well, I'm shocked, to be honest. I don't like going through. I feel much more comfortable going through the live analysis, to be honest. I think it keeps us accountable instead of doing like you know, kind of hindsight stuff. And we did a little bit of both in here today. Of course, we saw these moves unfold, and we went through the scenarios, and then we started to see it unfold, and we're looking for the follow-through, and it played out pretty nicely. The more objective we are in the analysis and understanding what's going on in here in the market structure from the higher time frame in the candlesticks, and understanding our zones and marking them up, because look at this, is pretty back and forth, right? And we started off, we were bullish up into these areas up in here. We started to see something change. We're looking for the pullback into these areas down in here. We're looking for a bounce, even a small little move in here, a bounce out of this area because of buyers. We come back again and we see sellers again. We're looking for the push through that area. Okay, now here again, I forget, someone had asked the question, why 42? Look at, this is where it pushed through. This is where it's retesting back to. All right, there's another reason as well. All right, so you know, now we look at these areas in here. Now we're going to look at the volume, and we look at the order book, and it's all there in front of us. Look at that liquidity here, and where they pushed it through a little bit higher up here, right? 42. The liquidity was here though, and now look at the liquidity up here at 45. Pretty high liquidity up here at 45. Okay, can we get there is the question. It's already failed up here a couple times, and it's trying here. It's trying. But anyway, the push up here again to the swing was, you know, I thought it, because of this volume in here, I thought we'd get there immediately. But I just because it's POC, I don't like taking a profit. I like looking at my levels. Okay, just because it's a high volume node and it does this, it's just not my style. Okay, so anyway, guys, thanks everybody, thanks for coming. If you like this video, give us a like, actually on this one, really give us a like, because this is we may turn this into a course somehow. All right. If you guys do like it, then that'll be important. And comments in here too. Maybe after the webinar is done, let us know your comments in here if you want us to continue on this or not, because we will. No problem. It's whatever you guys want is for you. So the just a little upkeep, or let you guys know what's going on in here in our Discord channel later today at 2 p.m. We will have all this week, we have events at 2 p.m. So we I will have today, we're going to go over some new indicators for the next few days, and then Doug will be on Friday. So that'll be a treat to watch Doug present and go through his option strategies. I can't wait. I mean, Doug's really gone deep into them. So we have at 2 p.m. today, we have the cross BBO, cross best bid and offer indicator. It's very simple and straightforward, but I want to cover it with you guys. And then tomorrow we have the webinar and in Discord on the price levels. Okay, Philip, I think you had been asking about that. We're doing it. All right, so it'll be tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we'll have we have a new break-even point indicator. Okay, so we're going to cover that on Thursday. Now, these are going to be, these are more technical. These are new features. Okay, so we'll be covering them in the afternoon. You guys have liked those and embraced those, so we're going to do more of those. And also, for you guys looking for Tom, he is off right now. He will be back on the 30th. Let me show you. Okay, if you go to our YouTube channel. Okay, so Tom is away right now. We've put it on multiple areas in here. Tom is away here. Here's his webinar though for the 30th. But if you go to our homepage in here, you'll see it as well. We've listed it. So you guys know he's here. He'll be back on August 30th and presenting. All right, so look for him then. And he needs a bit of time off. He's been working very hard and has been providing you guys with some very high quality education with order flow and volume profile. All right, so lots of stuff going on, lots of events happening, yeah, so we'll see you at 2 p.m. later today. All right, and again, please give me your comments, and we will read these comments in the on this webinar if you want to continue this into education, these parts 1 and 2 on candles. Right, so it's kind of important, at least for me, to kind of understand what you guys are looking for and what you want. All right, thanks guys, thanks for coming everybody, and we'll call it a day, and we'll see you later, maybe today at 2:30. Okay, thank you, take care, bye bye.